Recording in progress. Let's see. It's okay, I can do the pictures the best we can do. Thank you so much, I appreciate it.
Good afternoon. This webinar offers closed captioning. To enable closed captioning, click on the live transcript button on the bottom of your screen and choose your preferred method. Welcome to the City of Chicago Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection webinar. Please note, any website or email that I mentioned will be posted in the chat box. For those seeking business license assistance, you can visit our Small Business Center here at City Hall or call 312-74-GO-BIZ. Also, business license can be applied for or renewed online at chicagobusinessdirect.org. If you are a part of the BACP Entrepreneur Certificate Program, you can get credit for joining this webinar by sending an email to bacpoutreach@cityofchicago.org. To learn more about this program, please visit chicago.gov/business education. Also, this webinar is being recorded and will be available at youtube.com/ChicagoBACP. I will post the mentioned information in the chat box. We like to encourage all attendees to ask questions. Please use the chat to send your questions. There will be a Q&A session at the end of this presentation. Please note the views, information, and opinions expressed during this webinar are solely those of the presenter and does not necessarily represent the official policy or position of the Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection or the City of Chicago. Today's webinar is entitled Your Next Level Business, Building a Foundation That Lasts, presented by Chase for Business. At this time, I will now turn this webinar over to Sandra for us to begin.
Hi there, operator, can you hear me? Good morning or good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sandra Magallon. I'm actually working out of the Detroit office today, and I'm unable to have my video on. It would be Zoom if I cannot turn my video on. I want to thank everyone for joining us. I really do appreciate you coming to the webinar today. And so my name is Sandra Magallon. I am the Midwest Minority Entrepreneur Area Manager. And today I am here to present how to take your business to the next level. With me, I have Rashida Winfrey. Rashida is one of my senior consultants. She's a senior consultant that is going to co-facilitate with me on how to take your business to the next level. We will be sharing a presentation after the event, so make sure you take notes. And so, Rashida, are you on the line? I want to just make sure that I can hear you.
Hi, I am on the line.
Wonderful, wonderful.
I am on the line, though my video is not showing. Should it be?
It should be. I'm trying to get mine to show, but it's not showing. It's okay. I think, it'll hopefully have a chance for us to share the content that we have. Because I don't see the little video camera on the bottom of my Zoom, so I'm not sure what the challenge is, but let's just go ahead and get started. Great. Let me go ahead and share my screen. And I want to just preface this, that this presentation was created in order for us to be able to just share the different ideas of how to take your business to the next level. Again, my name is Sandra Magallon. I'm here with Rashida Winfrey. We work with Chase for Business. And so I want to start with a quote from Damon John, who is the founder of Fubu and also one of the judges of Shark Tank. And here is a quote from his book, Power Shift: Transform Any Situation, Close Any Deal, and Achieve Any Outcome. Once I found my why, I was good to go. Each time out, I understood that I was doing and what I was doing, it was the moment I was finally able to make something happen. That is powerful. And so today, that's what we're going to talk about, your why. Like, what is your why as a business? And that's important just for you as you're transforming your business, as we're overcoming the pandemic, and really imagining, like, what do you want your customers and your clients to think about? What is your why? And so here's a simple formula. My why is to, because of blank. So you gotta fill it in. Like, for example, here as the area manager, my why as a Midwest minority area manager is to provide financial empowerment to minority-owned businesses that want to grow and scale. So again, that is when we're talking about what is your why. Let's go to the next slide. So today, we're going to cover is think like an entrepreneur, establish a foundation for business growth, develop agility and resilience, put people first, and keep pushing. So let's start with think like an entrepreneur. What is an entrepreneur versus a small business? That's always something that we ask our mentees. And an entrepreneur is someone who is a great leader, someone that is leading a business and has the right mindset that can be able to lead. And so a great business needs a great leader with the right mindset. You can be that leader. There's a flywheel at the center of your business. And many wonder, especially here in the Midwest, why use the flywheel? Well, the flywheel is that one sprocket that is being used in the windmills, that without that flywheel, the windmill's not going to move. It's not going to change. And so you are the flywheel. You are the flywheel of your business. Without you being the center of your business certainly can't operate. At first, it's heavy and slow, but with every turn, it spins faster. That momentum is up to you as a leader to give your business the push that it needs. There's no single action that results in success. The little things, all those pushes add up, making each bigger success more possible. And this takes us to this proverb. The fox knows many things, but the hedgehog knows one big thing. And so we as entrepreneurs that I work with, a lot of entrepreneurs that are very swift and are moving with momentum and are able to pivot, are able to do many things. But if you get stuck with just thinking about one big thing, then you can focus on it, but then you may have all these other opportunities that you may not be able to really capitalize on. So do you believe you can grow as a person? A fixed mindset holds people back. A growth mindset makes more possible. And so I'm going to take into this a little bit. And so, Rashida, please feel free to jump in. I have my chat up in case you want to go ahead and add commentary. But one of the things that I want to really talk about is how is it that you change the mindset? How is it that you feel you change the way that you make decisions after all of the learnings from the pandemic? Hold on one second. I keep getting some chats here. Let's see. Hold on. Yes, it sounds fuzzy at my end. You keep coming in and out. I'm very static. Okay, you have to start it. Okay, let's see. I'm going to get closer to my speaker here. Operator, let me know if you can hear me.
It's going in and
Okay.
it's going in and out. Sandra.
In and out. Okay, so if I can ask all of my audience, if you can please put your phone on mute. Sometimes if it's not on mute, you're able to like hear some noise in the background. I'm actually sitting in an office right now where there's no noise. I'm hoping it's not coming from me. Okay. Okay, Rashida, can you hear me now? Sounds like the connection is static. Okay, I'm on my laptop. Okay, I'm I'm going to go ahead and keep going, and hopefully you can hear me.
Sandra, I can go ahead and take over.
Okay, because I hear you perfectly. Thank you, Rashida. I will be here and I will be entering information in the chat. So I will go ahead and hand it over to you. Let me know when you want me to move the presentation, please, or the slides.
Okay, perfect. And I do have the chat box up, everyone. So if for any reason you can't hear me well, just drop it in the chat and we'll make adjustments. Okay, perfect. So yeah, so the personal growth can lead to business growth. And we're talking about the mindset. What does it take really to be not just a leader, but a leader as an entrepreneur? And that is, as Sandra was alluding to, someone that embraces challenges, persist in the face of setbacks. Here recently we have this term called grit, right? And I kind of laugh about it sometimes because I'm like, they teach these classes and courses on grit, and I'm like, I feel like just because of background experiences, I don't have to take the class on grit, right? I've lived it. But those are some of the behaviors, et cetera, that kind of lead to that personal growth that also is very specific to business growth. The one other thing I'll call out that I think is extremely important is learn from criticism. As a business owner, the ability to receive feedback and not take it extremely personally is key, right? That's feedback from employees, from peers, and more than anything from our clients, right? That is extremely important. Things that require personal growth that can then lead to business growth. Okay, next page. Oh, there we go. Grit. It all adds up to grit. How persistent can you be, right? Next slide, Sandra. Which entrepreneur, okay, know your purpose. We talked about personally, like knowing your why. Sandra spoke to her why. But why does your business do what it does? I find this to be one of the most important concepts. I often compare it to, kind of relationships with people, right? When you have like tough periods, how do you think back to those things that got you started to begin with? And it's no different with your business. It's being able to clearly identify so that you have a path, right? But also sometimes just to remember when times get tough, like why am I in it? Why does my business do what it does? Next slide, Sandra. And then again, your mission. I think you all may have access to the workbook. There's a workbook that accompanies this presentation, and it gives you an opportunity to really jot down those specific items that connect to why, what, and then how does your business do what it does? How are you getting your products and services? How are you manufacturing? How are you creating whatever it is that your business, was developed to fill a gap? How? Next slide, Sandra. And then what big change do you want your business to spark? I often think about a local firm here when I talk about capturing your vision. Literally, there is an entrepreneur that I've worked with in the past. And, the change that she wanted her business to spark was around food waste. And so she, working in the restaurant industry, had noticed that so much food was thrown away each night, right? Prepared, not used, went to waste. And the big change that she wanted to create was she lived in a neighborhood where there were so many people that didn't have access to fresh food. It was a food desert. And she created a company that, that got wasted or potentially wasted food from a restaurant, to communities that didn't have access to fresh food as much. And that was literally the big change that she wanted her business to spark. And it did. She has gone on to have, amazing success, part of a group of people on the cover of Forbes, et cetera, simply because she really thought through and captured that vision, right? What is the gap? What is the solution? What is the big change that you want your business to spark? Next slide, Sandra. Okay, so there's this saying of, write it down, make it clear, right? Put it on paper if you want it to happen, and that's no different with your business. But you have to get, really kind of specific, right? So tips for writing your purpose, mission, and vision statements are: get it on paper, focus on the big ideas, evoke emotion, right? And that comes from you tapping into the passion that you feel about the business. Again, what's that big change you want to spark? Really think about the future stage. So imagine your future. Imagine the future of the business. What does that look like? Don't be afraid to dream, right? Don't be afraid to have those big ideas. Um, and then be concise, kind of whittle it down to get there, and then get input. Again, this is why I think that one thing about personal growth of accepting criticism, it's the same as really being open to feedback, right? So, especially when you're super passionate about something, think of it if you have children, a family member. Sometimes you can't see what other people can see because you're so connected and close to it. But getting that input from someone that maybe has been in that business before, is maybe at a different place in the business, is extremely important. And being able to hear the input that they're giving. Next page. Someone asked, can those things be the vision, the mission, the purpose? Can they be used to start your business plan? Someone put that in the chat, and absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Those are a lot of it are kind of the foundation of what you will use to build out a business plan. And what about profit? We've talked a lot about the ideas, but where does the profit fit in? And, as you would imagine, your vision isn't possible without profit. Your vision really is technically, the IRS would consider it a hobby, right? Without significant years of profit. So the profit is absolutely important, making it a viable and sometimes for those that desire a scalable business. Profitability is what's going to help fuel that growth in your ability to scale, to serve, to produce for more people. And then profit can really help you focus on what matters. Really knowing your numbers, understanding where the profit, the revenue is coming from, helps you understand how to make different decisions, what to do more of, what to do less of in ways that matter for your business. Next slide. All right, the next section is really about having a strong foundation for business growth. What needs to be in place in order to ensure business growth, sustainability, longevity, et cetera. Your business structure is extremely important. We can go to the next slide, Sandra, because some of the other slides go into more detail about this. Some of your options about business structure are a few things that we'll talk about. So one is sole proprietorship. Many businesses start as a sole proprietorship. It's literally just you, a single owner, simple, low cost setup. You have complete control. You don't have to, kind of ask others to make decisions. There's a level of flexibility. However, there's also deep personal liability, and you must pay payroll taxes, though you can deduct your expenses. On the next slide, another type of business structure is a partnership. With a partnership, you may have multiple owners. It's still also simple, low-cost setup. There's share control. So you do have other people that you have to consult with to have changes, but you also get the benefit of having people to bounce ideas off, people that have strengths where you have weaknesses, et cetera, et cetera. And then the partners share in the personal liability. A C Corp. A C Corp can have multiple shareholders. The setup can be complex and will require the help of professionals. A board of directors is required, which actually controls the company, but owners are not personally liable, and there is a potential for double taxation. On all of these, I would say, especially the tax impact, it's very important to speak with an accountant or a certified public accountant, and sometimes even have, an attorney that can help you determine the very best structure for your business. And then an S corp is, also a type of corporation, multiple shareholders, board of directors as well. There are no corporate taxes. It's passed through, usually through a K-1, for each partner. So the profits are passed through as distributions to the shareholders of the S corp. And then lastly, a limited liability corporation known as an LLC. LLC owners can fully participate in the business. They're protected from liability. There are no limits on shareholders, kind of how many you have, and then the earnings here are also passed on to the owners. So from a tax perspective, the LLC itself is not taxed. And then B corporations. So B corporations are a tad bit, different. Any business structure can certify as a B Corp. So it's not kind of a tax structure, and it's not a kind of legal actual entity structure. It's more of a certification. And the certification is a public commitment to do good for people, communities, and the environment. Okay, and Sandra spoke to the flywheel that's at the middle, the center of your business. And so when your operations run steady, it's easier to push the flywheel. And with all of the things that come with running a business, that's really what we want is streamline operation, those things that make it easier for the business owner, the employees, and again, your client experience. Next slide, Sandra. And then organization can make a difference. Literally, I was sitting with clients yesterday, and we were really in conversation about some work we've done to get their financials in order, to really help them think through better marketing structure, et cetera. And at this point, the conversation we were in was very different than where we were a year ago. A year later, we are now talking about ways that they can grow their business through lending opportunities with Chase. One of the biggest things that has brought them from that place to where we are today is really having streamlined process operations, having the ability to clearly communicate to investors, to lending officers, their business kind of strategy, operations, etc. Part of that is find your roadmap. Literally map your process and your workflows. Start by taking inventory of every aspect of your business and steps to complete it. There are a number of systems, technology that really helps in doing this. Even PowerPoint has some ways to create process workflows. Lucidchart is another software that people use to really create that roadmap and get really clear on your process. And then data. Once you've qualified what's falling short, you can set your goals and track whether you're meeting those goals. There's lots of ways that you can take in data. There are inventory systems that help you understand kind of what's going on. Your financials, having those in order and systems around that will point to where you can understand where you're falling short, et cetera. And then even for those that sell products. A lot of times your POS system, your point of sale system can also help you have data that, that impacts your roadmap. So let's see, before we go to this next section, what if you have an LLC but don't have a license? Can you still sell or promote yourself? So that is very specific to the location or city, county in which you're operating. A license is required for different types of businesses. Some do not require a license. So I would say the best thing to do is to check with your local agency that is responsible for providing a business license, to understand when that is and when that is not required. Okay, I think that's the only new question. So, and if you have questions, definitely put them in the chat. I am, kind of paying attention there, and we'll work to answer any questions, that we haven't answered. So developing agility and resilience, trust me, in business, you will need it. Next slide. So let's talk about, what does that look like? What are some ways to ensure? We've all seen, especially now that we've lived through a pandemic, how important it is for a business that can adapt quickly. I don't know how many people we have on that currently own a business or that want to own a business, but if you made it through COVID, I guarantee you that you are a business that was able to adapt quickly. 33% of businesses say saving more cash for a buffer is top priority. Again, looking at the times, I would say what we know is, businesses were very hard hit by the pandemic. I worked directly with small businesses during that time, and it was those, again, that could quickly say, okay, my business was this yesterday, but no one's coming through the airport today, or, because flights aren't running at all, or, businesses aren't allowed to open. How can I be agile? And, often it was those that had cash or had already created, loans or lines of credit that gave them access to cash, that had that buffer to be able to make that adjustment. So 33% of businesses feel that having a cash buffer is everything. Invest in technology. We talked about streamlining operations. This is extremely important. Almost everything on that list was very specific to having the right tools to be able to streamline and make sure that that flywheel at the middle that Sandra spoke about, that you're able to push that up the hill more easily. Next slide. Cyber threats, again, invest in tools, resources, etc. I'll get to at some point in this presentation, like the importance of having a team, but having a team that focuses on technology and cybersecurity is extremely important as well. With this, you want to be able to educate and train, employees, your leadership staff, yourself, right, to understand these threats and how to mitigate those risks. Assess vulnerabilities. Pay special attention to email. Review your payment procedures. Are those safe? Have a conversation with your bank, right, about concerns. What are they seeing? What are some ways, again, to mitigate that risk? Require strong passwords for your systems. And again, I talked about talking to your banker. So around digital banking, these are some of the conversations you can have. Use apps and online portals anywhere where you have an internet connection. Your digital banking allows you to pay your bills quickly and efficiently with automated payments. Again, some of being able to take out the risk is having these systems that you can rely on, right? Monitor your accounts with notifications. Set it up so that if there is any payment above a certain amount, that you get a notification. And in some instances, you have to approve, right? Get data on customers and cash flow. We talked about being able to adjust your roadmap with data. Your own, financial data is a phenomenal way to understand what is working, what's not working, what to do more of, what to do less of, et cetera. Integrate that with accounting software. People commonly ask when I'm doing these, well, what are some examples? And so QuickBooks by Intuit is one. We talked about point of sale systems that integrate with your online banking and also provide phenomenal reporting. Xero, I think it's called, is another kind of online accounting system that can integrate with your online banking. And then also, not just the banking part. Sandra's like, go to the next slide, go to the next slide. And so, yes, so I do want to just talk about this though, because we do, and hopefully in future sessions, maybe there will be one around kind of, using marketing to tap into new audiences. But, taking your business online, these days you kind of find companies that are online only, especially small businesses that start online but don't have a brick and mortar, or that are brick and mortar and maybe don't have as much of an online presence, but there is such opportunity online. So figure out where are your customers, what platforms do you need, how will you take these payments online, and then how will you list your products and services? What does that look like? Again, there are a lot of tools that kind of make it easy to do this, but this is an area where I have seen lots of clients have success actually, hiring or consulting with companies that, that do this work kind of for our small businesses. Next slide. And any questions, feel free to put it in the chat. This is one of my very favorite topics and areas, and it is put people first. And that is, as we'll get to on the next slide, Sandra. That really is, oh, it's okay. So that really is, the people that you invest in as either consultants for your business or your employees, etc. Assemble a team of doers. It is really the role of the entrepreneur, the leader, to, again, focus on that mission, that vision, the why of the business, and be able to help other people really, execute, to stay, really in a place of the strategy, the oversight, etc. And what that means is you're looking for a team of people with phenomenal work ethic, people that buy into the vision that you've set. A lot of times, that vision, you have to make sure that it permeates throughout your organization. Collaboration, what type of leader are you? Are you one that, only kind of dictates, or do you tend to collaborate? And how do you find people that collaborate, that have a collaborative spirit as well? Diversity. What we know from data is that diverse teams create extremely successful companies. If everyone thinks alike, then how do you really understand those gaps and differences, adjustments, etc., that we talked about that are required to really build a strong, scalable, effective business? I mean, people who make up for your weaknesses. So I report to Sandra. She could tell you any day, some of my weaknesses might be the detail in admin, right? So if I were a business owner, I would look for people that are, completely like wake up loving to do admin work. Like that's what I would look for, because, I have strengths in a lot of other areas that people may not, but you look for those that complement and make up areas where you have weaknesses. And then people who are hungry to succeed. And again, all of that comes down to what type of environment you're looking for and how you assemble the team. So I see in the chat a number of people are asking about the workbook. And so we will address that in just a moment. Or Sandra, can you actually put in the chat? I feel like yeah. So Sandra just put the link to the workbook in the chat. It's elevatetogether.org. That's where you can find the workbook. Okay, next slide. Build an attractive workplace. We talked about this a bit, even around building a team. What type of environment are you creating? Especially these days, post-COVID, where people have gotten to a place of feeling like, okay, what's their why? What's their mission, right? How does that match up with yours? People want more than that paycheck. Are you offering a workplace that means something to people and shows that you value them as individuals? Some of the slides I want to rush through, but this one I really want to just take a moment with it, right? I do think, especially when you talk about, multi-generational workspaces, this is something that I think is really important for employers, for business owners to understand as they do hire people from different generations. My mom's generation, for example, she would say to me, if it were supposed to be fun, it wouldn't be a job, right? My generation, it's like, well, yeah, I understand that a job is a lot of work, right? I do want to be paid well, but I want, maybe decent benefits. Generations after me, they're literally like, well, I just want to be happy, right? So they're like, paycheck means nothing. And so it does become, how do you work to build an attractive workplace that doesn't just meet the needs of one generation, right? But a multi-generational space that works for many people. We talked about diversity from many different backgrounds. I'm really seeing that as a challenge post-COVID, when it is really hard to find staff. Really spend that time understanding not just what makes a workplace attractive to you, but in today's world, what does that look like? Okay, we'll speed through a couple of other ones so that we don't have you here, but that one was really important to me. You can go to the next one, Sandra. This again, work with professionals, having a team. Sandra and I work very closely with entrepreneurs day in and day out. And so we're able to see and understand the patterns of some of the pitfalls that really prevent business success. And we also see the ones that really, really help create successful, growing, sustainable businesses. One of the pitfalls, right, that I see are people not wanting to invest in a team. But the old adage, that, hey, either you pay up front or you pay on the back end. I would say this is where that truly shows up. Invest in a team of professionals to surround and support you in your business. So that's CPAs, attorneys, bankers. Develop those relationships, especially I'd say with bankers, before you need them, right? I often say, if you have a banker, I never say it with my boss on the line, so I don't know how this will land, but, make your bankers, push your bankers, right? Have them, everyone's so busy, but have your bankers really work hard for you. Develop those relationships before you truly need them so that your banker can help guide you in ways that you will definitely need down the line as an entrepreneur. Marketing professionals, we talked about that online presence. There are people that, do that day in and day out, and they are experts. IT services, the last thing you want is, system crashes, cyber threats, all of those things that you could have kind of thought about on the front end, invested in, that can bring your business to a halting stop. So work with professionals. Next slide. Connect with influencers. A network of mutual benefit can open a lot of doors for you and others. Find ways to find other people that are entrepreneurs, because they will be dealing with things that you are, that other people truly can't relate to in the same way. They can open doors, find people that are at different stage in their business cycle than you are. All right, next. And then certify your business. This is so important. So minority-owned businesses can tap into networks of opportunity in the corporate supply chain. It can take years to get to that level, and that's why you should start now. There are a number of organizations that we can, provide to you all as kind of a follow-up kind of communication that you definitely can go to certify as a minority-owned businesses. There are many corporations, many county, municipal, even government opportunities that very specifically look for minority businesses, but usually they require that you are actually certified. And then number 5, keep pushing. I have been an entrepreneur. I ran my own business for a number of years. And so I say keep pushing. Is no way to be successful as an entrepreneur without that ability to keep pushing. It is not always easy. There are times, especially when you are responsible for not just your family through your business, but other people and their families. Um, and we talked about again a number of things, and this section kind of pulls some of them together. The why, the mission, all of those things that really make up your business plan, your executive summary. The workbook will definitely help with this as well. Reconsider your competitive landscape. As I said before, we talked about getting input, right? Taking criticism. It's important to consistently be open to understanding what are your competitors doing. What are you doing that your competitors are not doing? And more importantly, what are your competitors doing that you're not doing? But you have to always stay on top of that. Understand your legal structure, put that into your business plan, right? Reimagine your strategies for marketing and selling to your customers. That also should go into your business plan. And make sure you think of a business plan not as a static document. It can consistently be updated as you learn more things, as you get kind of, more tenure, more time into your business, as you look at your data and understand what you should be doing differently, again, what you could do more of, what you can do less of, etc. And then keep pushing. You and your business are worth the investment. I have had a lot of years in financial services. And what I will tell you, at one point, I worked in wealth management, and very few of my wealthy clients worked for someone else. I would say if I had to give a percentage, I'd say 80% of my clients that made enough money to be considered wealthy were business owners. Keep pushing. When it gets difficult, have a team. Look for resources. Sandra, I think, put our information maybe in the chat. It is the work that we do. We are available to help, coach, provide resources. Chase.com gives, that type of information, etc. So that is, Business 201 kind of in a nutshell. We covered a number of things. There is a workbook that Sandra sent the link to. We hope that you'll use that. And at this time, we'll take questions. A number of you put things in the chat, but definitely want to know, what are some questions? There's nothing, well, if I can't answer it, I'll tell you, but just throw them out there, like nothing's off the table. Any questions? Let's see. What if you don't have competitors, someone says? Then I'd say you're extremely lucky if you don't have competitors. But what you can definitely do is determine, actually, so the person that says, what if you don't have competitors? I don't see it now to say who it was. Oh, is it Jennifer? So if you don't have competitors, I'd love to see you drop it in the chat and tell me maybe why you don't have competitors, just a little bit more so I can try to answer your question specifically. But I will say that if you don't have anyone that's doing exactly what you're doing, then that's amazing, right? That's great. But what you probably do want to do is understand, is there a business or industry that's very similar to yours? And can you learn from that? Even if you can't find a business that's really similar, is there a business that targets the same or serves the same customers or clients that you do? And then think of them as, not just traditional competitors, but maybe still be able to use it as somewhat of a roadmap if you have the same kind of target audience, to be able to see what worked well, what didn't work well, etc. Yes, pioneering is absolutely hard. But even if you can't get that direct, exact information, look for ways, like roundabout kind of ways, to find information that's similar. And it doesn't necessarily have to be looking at the business the way it's a competitor will be structured itself. It can be looking to see, when you have the same, like I said, target audience. You're welcome, Jennifer. Any other questions? We're absolutely here to answer them and welcome them. Someone asked in the chat, was attendance taken today? So I don't know the answer specifically for this group, but usually if you log in or register with Zoom, there's a record of it. So LaShonda, doesn't seem like we have an answer for you, so you probably want to follow up, but that is typical. Yes. Okay, thank you. Absolutely. Sandra, someone is asking if we can post our email. I'm not sure what we've agreed upon or have not agreed upon.
Hi, Rashida, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. I shared the landing page. Rashida is kind enough to join us from Atlanta to help us with this, but I do have senior consultants here in the city of Chicago. And by you going to the landing page, you will be able to go ahead and request to meet with one of the local senior consultants in Chicago. That's a really good way for us to ensure that any inquiries that are coming in are not lost. So please go ahead and I'm going to drop it back in the chat again so that you're able to go ahead and visit us in the chase.com/forwardbusinessconsultant. And that should be able to go ahead and take you to the landing page for the Minority Entrepreneur Program. So I'm going to drop that in the chat right now, Rashida, just to make sure that the folks here today are able to connect with one of our local consultants.
All right.
And then we have Donna, who did talk about the online sales that seems to be daunting and attracting customers. Are there any suggestions for moving beyond your friends and family for getting the word about your business? That is a very good question, Donna. I will say that we here at Chase are working closely to have a digital marketing solution that we will be presenting in the future, Donna. But I would say that if you visit our link page, you will get connected with one of the senior consultants that could share what her experiences have been as she's working with a lot of businesses that have gone digital, especially after the pandemic. That seems to be the only lifeline that a lot of small businesses had. Okay, someone else asked about the workbook. I will go ahead and copy it. The workbook currently is living in a website that's Elevate Together. It's a partnership that we had with Office Depot to deliver financial literacy, and it's a library of where you can find the workbook. So if you see the link that says Elevate Together, that's why the content's there, but you should be able to get it there. Neighborhood Opportunity Fund, do you have any experience of funding and assisting with business acquisition through the Neighborhood Opportunity Funds? That is a very specific program where we actually rely on working closely with the city to ensure that you have the right contacts that will help you through the application process. So I would say to definitely continue to lean on the SBDC and the BACP for guidance when it comes to the Neighborhood Opportunity Fund. I do see that they have had some webinars where you're able to go ahead and listen to some webinars where they talk about the program itself. It's very specific to different areas in Chicago. So please make sure for you to Google that information. All right. Any other questions, Rashida, that you see there?
I was typing one to, I think, McCall. And so, but I keep misspelling words, so I should just say it. So the Chase landing page that Sandra lists, she posted it a bit earlier, not the Elevate one, but there's another landing page specifically for Chase. It lists Georgia resources as well. So you can find, if you happen to be joining from a different city, or if you want to pass on the information to people in different cities or states, you can, through that landing page, also find resources and find ways to connect with people in different cities also.
Right. Oh, that's great. We have Mikkel, who is doing business in both. Wow, that's awesome. I did share the link for the Neighborhood Opportunity Fund. I would also recommend that you go to Google and look for Chicago Neighborhood Opportunity Fund. The administrators of the fund did a fantastic job recording a Q&A with individuals interested. So I would say use that as a resource. All right, Rashida, thank you so much for pivoting with me and trying to figure this all out. And again, it wouldn't be a virtual environment if it wasn't, if we didn't have some of these glitches. So I want to thank everyone for being so patient with us. And Rashida, do you have any other closing remarks?
No, just thank you so much for having us. Much success to each of you in your journey.
Yes, and I did get a question. Is the consulting free, or is there cost? No, but this is part of us advancing racial equity. So the Minority Entrepreneurial Program was launched 15 months ago in the city of Chicago. We're in 21 cities now. We're going to 20 more cities next year. And our role is to really be here as a resource, do one-on-one coaching. So please visit our site if you're interested in the consulting piece of the work that we're doing. And so I want to thank the city of Chicago, the BACP, for giving us the opportunity to present today. We will have some other future opportunities where we're going to be presenting in the near future. So please be on the lookout for other events that we will be presenting. And we do have Martin O'Shea asking about how to apply for the TechStart Chicago. I will say we are in business banking. That's a question that really should go to philanthropy. And so, Martin, I would just recommend, I don't manage the philanthropic dollars or the programming. We're in the business banking group helping with minority businesses through coaching. And as far as TechStarts and what the foundation is funding, I will have to get back to you and try and figure out like what's the best resource to get you to get some information on the TechStart Chicago. So I have that takeaway with me, Martin, and so I'll have to circle back with you. All right. Thank you, Rashida.
Absolutely. Thank you all.
Thank you for Sandra and Rashida for today's presentation. I hope all of our attendees were able to get all the much needed information from you guys. To find out about upcoming webinars, please visit chicago.gov/business education. Again, it's chicago.gov/business education. To receive credit for today's webinar, please send an email to bacpoutreach@cityofchicago.org. See you next week. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy the weather.